So I finally made my decision. I am getting the CRF300L versus the KLX300. But hold on now, the KLX300 is not completely out of the picture yet. I might consider it one day, but I do have a friend who is actually getting the KLX300, and that kind of, I repeat, kind of made up my mind on the CRF300L, so we can actually compare bikes head to head on the trails, and possibly single track. But just a news flash, there is a very, very high demand on these machines, and we have to unfortunately be put on a wait list, so it might be a while before you see this bike on the trails.
So I decided to, instead of getting the KLX300, I decided to get the CRF300L, not the Rally, but the normal standard dual sport. Now there's a few reasons why I want to get it. I actually did test ride both of them. I was lucky enough at 2 dealerships, and unfortunately I couldn't take that CRF300L because it was already reserved. And believe me, with the whole COVID thing, it'll probably be a very long time before you see me with the CRF300L Rally. I mean, the CRF300L normal dual sport version. Now when I test rode, I noticed, I don't know, they both felt very, very dirt bikey to me. The KLX300, between the KLX250, it was a minuscule difference. While the CRF300L, it probably could be because of the internal gearing, but honestly, it felt like it just had a little bit more of a punch and more of a kick. I ended up calling Kawasaki a manufacturing company, and they were able to talk to me, and it's kind of weird because, so the KLX300R, the normal dirt bike, the SAE, I don't know, maybe you guys can fill me in, but the SAE horsepower of the KLX300R is 28 horsepower. Wow, the KLX300, the new 2021 dual sport, the SAE horsepower was 25 point something, around there. Now I tried doing the same thing to Honda. I tried giving Honda a call, but unfortunately I couldn't get through to anyone.
Okay, so for the KLX300R, the horsepower is, so it's the SAE horsepower, and that's 28.
And you said 19 or 18 Nm or foot-pounds?
26.0 Nm.
Oh, okay, 26.0 Nm, okay.
So now let me look at the other model. Give me the KLX300 Dual Sport. Give me a moment, okay?
Okay, and yeah, and that was the 2021. Thank you. Oh, that one was also, the KLX300R was a 2021? Okay, thank you.
Yes, Okay, so for the KLX300 Dual Sport, the SAE horsepower, is 25. And then let me check and see if this one gives me torque information. Give me a moment. For this one, it's showing maximum torque. It's showing 24.0. And then right below that, it has a capital N, dash, and then lowercase m as in Mike.
Okay, perfect. So 25 horsepower on the new KLX300, correct?
25 SAE horsepower.
Okay, and the KLX300R was 28. Okay. Perfect. So I did find it a little weird, SAE horsepower versus what others claim to be. It's a bit conflicting since some sites are saying 27 horsepower on the CRF300L, and the other sites are saying 33 horsepower on the KLX300 Dual Sport, which I believe that was intended to the KLX300R and not the Dual Sport. I really don't believe the KLX300 Dual Sport was 33 horsepower. But at the end of the day, the CRF300L was a huge difference in my opinion versus the old CRF250L. To me, the CRF250L was a true dual sport feeling and a bit more gutless, while the CRF300L felt more sleek and more like a dirt bike when it came to ergonomics. The suspension also felt a lot better versus the older CRF250L. It seemed a little bit more firm, but it's still on the plush side. As far as the KLX300 and CRF300L, I hate to admit, but they almost felt identical, except the CRF300L suited me better as far as ergonomics go and characteristics of a dirt bike, which I usually compare it to my 2-stroke. The KLX300 also felt very dirt bikey, but the CRF300L has just a very slight advantage. However, as we all know, its true test will be when I take it out on the rocky trails of Colorado. When it comes to flat trails and open forest roads, the difference between the two is really very seldom.
Obviously, I kind of want a little bit more power, But the power isn't a huge deal to me, of course. I mean, I'll probably be using it on trails like this and basic trail riding. But some of the reasons that sold me on the CRF300L, one was definitely the looks. I love the looks of the CRF300L. I'm sorry. I just think it looks so much better. Also, the ergonomics seemed to fit me a lot better. It felt more dirt bikey to me when I was standing. You know, the whole 9 yards. It just felt, they're both really comfortable. They felt way better than a DRZ 400. For comparison purposes. The thing too is the CRF300L has more ground clearance than the KLX300, the new KLX300. It has more suspension travel front and rear, while the KLX300 I believe is like 9.1 and then the front is 10 or 10.1 inches. So the CRF300L is the slight winner on this in my opinion. They're both great bikes. It was a very hard decision. Maybe down the road I'll just sell my KLX250 and then buy the KLX300. Now, I might find myself trails like this on the CRF300L. You know, the extra ground clearance might be a huge plus, you know. You know, go over rocks like that. This has, so this two-stroke has about 11.2. It's kind of a shame the KLX, you know, they dropped their ground clearance, but it is what it is. This is Colorado. We got a lot of rock gardens out here, and I need that extra ground clearance, you know. Don't get me wrong, it's a great machine, but ooh.
Now let's rewind a bit. On the day I picked the KLX250 over the CRF300L, by a margin the KLX250 was a much better off-road machine versus the CRF300L. It was slightly lighter, slightly had better suspensions and forks, felt more nimble, and had a more sleek design. Not to mention a slightly lower seat height. It was a little bit easier for me to toss a leg over the KLX250 versus what it was on the CRF300L, even though I am 6 foot tall. Well, now it's 2021, and this time around, a CRF300L was made, and was greatly improved. Sure, the biggest drawback is the suspensions. They are not adjustable, but in my eyes, it's not really a huge deal since the CRF300L is more on the plush side. And I do like my rides to feel a little bit more floaty, which by the feel of it is set to the softer side. Of course, I do plan on upgrading my spring ratings and adjusting my sag, unlike the day I bought the KLX250. That was one of the reasons why the KLX250 never really felt 100% stable on the rocks. Anyhow guys, let me know what you guys think about the CRF300L or the KLX300 or possibly even the Rally. Which one is your favorite and why? And why do you prefer that machine over the other? Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you guys want to see me check out the other parts of Colorado, other states as well with the CRF300L and possibly the KLX300 in the near future, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell button, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.